programs talking about these issues and actually giving voice, I think, to a lot of what you were looking for. And then we have a lot of interaction with the government of Kenya, and I want you to know that we raise these issues behind the scenes as well, in a very straightforward manner. Because you know what? Democracies don't work without the rule of law. And holding police accountable for those deaths is incredibly important. The other thing I would say is what some people call where they're going to because we want to make sure that we are letting the people in the right people. And you would be surprised, I think, because we handle visas from Somalia as well. And you would be surprised the lengths that people go to get to the United States of America with falsified documents, with falsified letters of to a conference, with falsified letters from universities that don't exist. So we have to inspect each and every person who wants to be there. Because you will remember 9/11 with the tremendous loss of life. So we do the very best job we can. We're getting better at it. And I just want to let you know that really apply early, but we process, I think this year we processed almost 50% more student visas in June, July, and August than we did a year ago.
Thank you for that. So I hope you all have and you'll be able to
Be prepared. When they ask you where you're going, know the answer to that question. When they ask you where you're studying, or what you want to study, know the answer to that question as well.
thank you so much for that. At this point, I just now want to pass Margaret over to the conference and graciously let us take the time to be here to just ask a few questions and address them to you, Mr. Whitman. And you know, to do that, please, if you make sure you raise your hand as high as possible so that I may be able to see you. And once you get the mic, just kindly say your name and move right on to your question. Yes, so if you have any question, kindly raise your hand. Yes, we have a gentleman up there, and you can
markets such as Kenya, for instance, where I believe digital transformation is accelerating? Thank you.
So it's an excellent question. Let me put AI into context for you. If you go back to the early part of the 1900s, there have been 8 or 10 gigantic trains, computers, calculators, computers, the internet, the cloud, and these are enormous changes.
I would argue that the United States did not do a great job on regulating social media. In my view, social media is completely out of control. You can't just say anything you want to say. There's something called civil society. And disinformation and misinformation, you know, I don't know how you govern the country today with that level of fake news, misinformation, disinformation. It's almost impossible to know what's real. And so there needs to be regulation to avoid the harm. And I think that governments are the only people, are the only organizations that can do this. I will tell you, having run 2 big companies, these companies are not necessarily going to do this on their own. So I do think this is the perfect role for government. And so I know Kenya is thinking about this. The United States is thinking about. We do not have the answers, but I think it's going to be important to really look out for the harm that AI can do. Now, there's tremendous benefits as well, and I think tremendous benefits for Kenya. What does Kenya have that will benefit AI tremendously? Ubiquitous green energy. As you probably know, AI uses enormous compute power, much more compute power than search or the web or the cloud. It is a huge consumer. Just think of what AI is doing. You ask AI, you ask questions to ChatGPT, and they
technologies. And so I think it takes some skill, but it's very important. Thank you for the question.
Someone else? We can have Jaime.
My name is Mary Maria Nyagaka, a law student, 3.1. My question is, what suggestion will you offer to the Kenyan government for addressing high taxation levels, particularly in light of the significant unemployment rate? And how can they strike a balance between maintaining fiscal responsibility and promoting economic growth and job creation? Thank you.
Excellent question. Your students are asking really good questions. You should be very proud. I really resonate strongly with that question. My belief is that the #1 challenge facing Kenya, and frankly many African countries, is the creation of good jobs for young people. You all have worked really hard here. You will graduate with an excellent degree, and not all of you will find jobs that are befitting of that degree. And because there is a youth bulge in Africa, there's 1 million students a year who graduate from high school and college, only 300,000 of which find jobs that are befitting. So jobs, jobs, jobs. And that is the way to grow out of the problem of high taxation. Kenya has a very small tax base. Only 5 million people and entities in Kenya pay taxes out of a country of 55 million. And you only collect about 16.2% of your GDP in taxes. Most developing and middle income countries are more closer to 25%. But you can't keep going back to the same people who already pay taxes. So there has to be jobs in the formal sector where there's a good paycheck, some benefits, and where taxes can be collected. And the only way to do that, my view is, Kenya has to grow their GDP faster. Your GDP growth has been pretty good, 4 to 5%, but if you're going to absorb this youth bulge, you have to grow at about 8% GDP growth rate for 10 years. Kenya has to try to create close to 2 million new jobs a year. That is a big number. But it can be done if there's a clear economic policy, if there is a clear layout talking about regulations, that regulations, just like for AI, regulations have to be put in place or modified to create a good business environment where businesses want to invest here. And then I'll tell you the largest problem that I see in front of Kenya is corruption. If Kenya does not fulfill its full potential to be a middle-income country and achieve Singapore-like growth rates, in my view, it will be because of corruption. And I think that's a very important issue for Gen Z to focus on, because it saps the strength of this country. So, and then you asked about cost reduction. I do think every government, including our own in the United States, can be run more effectively and efficiently. There are state-owned enterprises in this country that lose millions and millions of shillings a year. They probably served a purpose 20, 30 years ago, but does not probably make sense today and probably should either be shut down or privatized. And then I would say the KRA, probably your favorite organization, the Kenya Revenue Authority, they have a big systems problem. There's 11, many of you are science, technology, engineering students. They have 11 different systems that run the KRA, and they don't talk to each other. So there's a lot of leakage out of the KRA. So those would be some of the things I think about. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Someone else? We can have this gentleman here with the red tie.
My name is Reggie Mike, a student of communication and media. As youths, we have an agenda of global transformation. Now, the current emerging issue is climate change. Ambassador, over the last month, in my own county, there was a news brief that it's a county where the body of people rest in pieces and not in peace, climate change. So what plans do you have to engage youths of this country in this agenda of climate change? And do you have plans of concern to ensure that in these climate summits, youths of this country, other than our elected leaders, are also given opportunities to attend the climate summits in Japan, India, the United States of America, and many other West countries to get the message and change our village homes? Thank you.
Well, first of all, I agree with you that climate change is one of the biggest challenges facing the world today and facing your generation. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think our generation did such a great job in combating climate change. So I hate to say it, it's going to be up to you. And it is a very intractable problem because most countries industrialize, go from an agrarian economy to an industrialized country based on what? Fossil fuels. So I think, and I would also say us who emit the least, like a Kenya or many other countries in Africa, are being disproportionately hurt by those of us whose countries emit a lot of bad emissions. I think it's very important for you all to be involved. What are we doing? We are spearheading with the government the Africa Green Growth Initiative that the President announced at the last COP. You'll see more announcements ahead in this COP. This is foreign direct investment in green energy projects in Kenya. You have a tremendous advantage, as I said earlier, because of the green energy here, and you guys should run after that opportunity because it's going to be required. In terms of involving your cohort in these conferences, I think you're going to have to really look to your government for that. Yes, we certainly can provide some scholarships, but this has got to be a public participation agenda for the youth in Kenya. And I'm not sure there's a lot we can do except for advocate for that. But we do more scholarships to universities, more exchange programs, more visiting professorships than we do sending people to conferences.
Thank you, thank you. There's a gentleman close to the corner up there.
My name is Eddie Odhiambo, and they say that charity starts at home. And considering the pressing security challenges Kenya faces at home, including banditry attack, terrorism, and others, is it justified for Kenyan soldiers to be deployed to Haiti? Another question is that, how do you reconcile this with the need for resource and attention to be focused on Kenyan own security issues?
Okay. So first of all, I'm very glad you are asking these questions. I think I sent word that I wanted you to ask hard questions. You have to remember, I ran for public office. I ran for governor of California. There isn't a question I can't answer. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, who has questions that I have answers for? But anyway, on Haiti. So first of all, it was the international community that asked Kenya to send police to Haiti. And Haiti has been in trouble for many, many, many years. This is truly an incredibly challenged country. And your president said he would do this for the following reasons. I listened to his speech on TV, maybe like many of you did. He said, listen, these are Africans. These are our brothers and sisters on a different continent. And we have the capacity and the capability to try to help. And so that's what we're going to do. And a lot of people were skeptical, not only in Kenya, but globally. And I have to say, one of the real bright spots in the last 3 or 4 months has been the police performance in Haiti. Your police have done a remarkable job. They have secured the airport, they've secured the port, they've secured downtown, they've secured the main roundabout, they've secured schools and universities, and they are making an enormous difference. And the Haitian people are very grateful, and they are working very well with the Haitian National Police. Your president went to visit, our Secretary of State went to visit, and things are, knock on wood, going very well, and I think the international community is very grateful. So there are lots of pulls on your resources, but I think the international community and the Haiti people are very grateful. The second question was about?
How do we reconcile this with the need that we have in our country,
Yes.
and as much as we're sending soldiers outside?
Yes. So you have 110,000 police, and so right now there is, I think, 393 in Haiti, with another 400 to be sent in the next few weeks. So it's a small fraction of your total police, and it's a judgment call by your president as to whether that is worth that sacrifice of those police people, those policemen and women, for the benefit of Haiti and actually the international reputation of Kenya.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think we can have her here at the front. I don't know if we can get a mic to her.
My name is Sharon Wabira Ijiri. I am a medical student. So recently, Kenya has transitioned from NHIF, that is the National Health Insurance Fund, to SHA, Social Health Authority. This transition has raised a lot of public uproar. What lessons from the US healthcare system could help improve access and affordability here? And in your opinion, what will be a sustainable model for healthcare funding, especially in a middle-income country like Kenya? And lastly, as AI transforms healthcare, how do you see it enhancing diagnostic and care, and how can US-Kenya collaboration support this adoption?
Well, your second question is a lot easier than your first question. Healthcare in virtually every country of the world is the most challenging area. And I'm not sure we've gotten it right in the United States. The big breakthrough in the United States was Obamacare, which was to provide anyone who didn't have health insurance through their company or some other means the ability to purchase health care. And it's been in place now, 10 years, maybe 11. People are still fighting it. And I think most people would say it has been a success. but you are embarking on a next generation of journey for healthcare for Kenyans. I think the objective of ensuring health care for everybody is the right objective, right? We often say health is a right, not a privilege. Healthcare is a right, not a privilege. But the big question is, how do you afford it? As a middle-income country, frankly, as a rich country, it's very difficult to afford. And so I am in favor of your working towards universal health care. I think the challenge right now is the Kenyan budget is stretched very tight. Because one of the things I learned coming from America is, you will recall when Russia invaded Ukraine, the price of foodstuffs went up. Inflation increased dramatically around the world. The United States decided to raise interest rates to combat inflation. We raised interest rates quite a bit, and we got a head cold. The rest of the world got the flu. Because a country like Kenya has a risk profile, a risk adjustment on top of a risk premium on top of a risk premium, and your government is rolling commercial debt at 18%. The percentage of the Kenyan budget that went to debt service, interest, and principal went from 21% when I got here to 59%. It's almost impossible to absorb that shock. I'm very pleased that interest rates are starting to come down. I think your president and others have done an excellent job of lobbying for a whole new way that international debt for developing countries is financed. But there is a huge fiscal challenge in this country right now. So how you navigate to a new and better place, I don't know. And I think you're going to have some good stewards of experimentation and ways to do it differently. By the way, AI should help diagnostics dramatically. And whether that is through, AI reads x-rays and MRIs much better than humans do, right? AI can absorb tremendous data that is gathered about a patient and come to the correct diagnosis faster than humans. So don't worry, you're going to be a doctor, you'll still have a job. But you will be doing the things that AI can't do. And you have to remember bedside manner, patient care, empathy for patients, helping patients sort through some pretty difficult diseases. So best of luck. My husband's a doctor, and doctors do a tremendous amount of good every single day in what they do. They help one patient at a time. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. And just a reminder to us, kindly let's restrict ourselves to one question per person, so that we may be able to ask as many questions as possible. There's a guy in black. I don't know if we can have a mic be given to him.
My name is Owiti Avansotieno, and this is my question. Considering Kenya's rapid technological growth in the Silicon Savannah and the importance of initiatives like the Kennedy Mboya Scholarship, could you elaborate on the specific peace and security projects involving university students from the United States, and how the current relations how are they being strengthened to help us as Kenyan students contribute to these projects, particularly in the realm of cybersecurity and technological advancement? Thank you.
So first of all, I understand that one of the big focuses of Kisii University is science, technology, engineering, and math, and I applaud that. Every industry, whether it's regional peace and security, healthcare, agriculture, every business now, every field of study is actually a technology field of study. So I think your training in science, technology, engineering, and math, no matter where you want to go, is going to stand you in good stead. If I had to do my entire career again, I was an economics major at Princeton, I would be an engineer today. I would make myself be an engineer, because guess what? It's harder. It's harder, and but it would have been the thing to have done, I think. So I think what I would say is, in order to contribute to companies here, to the global order of cybersecurity, you need to be well prepared academically and try to find your way to postgraduate study or a job that enables you to build the skills that you would ultimately need. And the reason that Silicon Savannah is interesting to you in this audience who are majoring in science, technology, engineering, and math is you have the biggest American technology companies in the world here now. You have Google, who's been here 17 years. You have Microsoft, who's been here 3 years, but already has several thousand people working for Microsoft. You've got Oracle, you've got IBM's whole African Research and Development Center is here in Kenya. You've got Oracle, Hewlett-Packard, Dell, Cisco, Amazon Web Services. So all those companies are hiring Kenyans and are excellent training grounds. And then you've got a whole number of Kenyan startups being funded by venture capitalists all over the world that are also hiring. Not as many, but there are actually quite a few jobs in the technology sector. And there's a by the way, do you know that Kenya has a semiconductor manufacturing company? It's called Semiconductor Technologies Limited up in Nyeri, next to Dukat University. And there's literally a pipeline of Dukat students going to work at STL, and they're building their first fab for semiconductor manufacturing up in Nyeri.
All right, thank you. Unfortunately, time isn't on our side as much as we would have loved it to be, and therefore we just have to move on. I hope you guys won't stone me after this, but we would have loved Ambassador Whitman to answer as many questions as possible, but I'm sure this is just the beginning of the many interactions that we'll have, and I know we'll be able to pose our questions. Yeah, so
No, I think we should give an address that
All
you
right.
can send your questions to, and we'll answer them. I don't know which one of you would like to provide your personal email address.
yeah, sure, thank you.
We'll get that to you, and you
All
can
right.
distribute it to the student body, because we do want to answer as many questions as we can, but we do have to go.
Thank you so much. So to just wrap it up, there's a phrase that we say in Kenya, especially when we are in a politically charged atmosphere or environment like the United States is in right now, where they're having elections and all that kind of stuff. We usually say tano tena. Tano means 5 and tena means again, meaning that someone will have an opportunity to maybe go back to the position they were in again. So reflecting on your experience as a diplomat and the current landscape in Kenya, if given the choice again, will you still choose Kenya as your diplomatic post? And what aspects of your time here will influence that decision?
Well, thank you very much for that question. Yes, we have an election in less than 3 weeks, and it's quite an important election. As a diplomat, I'm supposed to remain neutral, but it's a very important election for the country. Yes, well, when the President of the United States asked me to be an ambassador and come to Kenya, he called me and he said, Meg, I'd like you to be an ambassador. I want you to go to Kenya. And I said, Kenya? I was thinking France. And he said, no, Kenya's going to be much better, because Africa is more important than it has ever been to the United States, and Kenya is the tech capital of East Africa and should be the tech capital of America, and therefore your tech background will be very helpful to Kenya. And he said, and I want to send someone of your caliber to Kenya. It will send a signal to the entire continent. So chatted with my husband, and we've been here now just over 2 years, and I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. It has been a remarkable experience. You have an amazing country, an amazing people with all kinds of unlimited opportunities. And it really has been a privilege to serve. It's been a privilege to get to know your country, to get to know many of you, and to see all. I think I've been to how many counties, Cameron? Like 25 counties, 26 counties, and it's been really remarkable. And you have some of the most beautiful landscapes anywhere in the world. So it's been a privilege, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And my neurosurgeon husband has loved it as well. He has an appointment at Jomo Kenyatta University and the University of Nairobi, where he trains neurosurgery residents, and then also goes out to Tenwick in Bomet to do, and you probably know Tenwick is one of the biggest neurosurgery centers in Kenya. So it's been fantastic, and I want to thank each and every one of you. I always say that Kenyans are the most lovely, warm, hospitable, smart, hardworking people that I've had the pleasure to get to know. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Whitman. Thank you for your time here. We are really grateful, and we hope we get to interact more and more. A round of applause once again for Ambassador Whitman. Thank you so much. My name is Daniel Mimbo, a fifth-year medical student, and I have been your moderator. Thank you so much. You can just remain seated.
Okay, we're doing a little media interview here with journalist students, yeah? Are you a journalism student? Way to go.
Okay, my name is Naftali Gitau, a student at Kisii University, taking communication and media, and also a student journalist. I have my friend here.
I'm Maura Sylvia, a student journalist at Kisii University.
Okay. Thank you for taking your time and coming here to have an engagement with us. I will have a question and I would want to engage with you. What advice would you give to the government following the challenges that Kenya is going through in the crucial sectors of health, education, and funding systems, which is one of the factors contributing to the growing unrest among the citizens?
So as I described, Kenya is facing a very severe financial situation. And my best advice is the country has to grow their way out of this. That 4% compound annual growth rate isn't going to do it. You've got to have a 7, 8, even 9% growth rate. You've got to do a Singapore for the next 10 years. You can do that. So how do you do that? You have a decent economic policy and you have investment. The investment environment needs to be improved. So it's easier for companies to grow here and companies to invest here. And then my second piece of advice is you've got to get a handle on corruption.
Thank you.
Okay, given the challenges posed on the new funding model, given the challenges posed on the new funding model about the help, do you think there should be a new way on how they should be placing the scholarships to ensure there is equality?
Yeah. So I think, education and how you all pay for education is another very significant challenge, perhaps as challenging as financing. And again, the backdrop is there's not a lot of money. That's the backdrop. But I think the government should do everything they can to make sure that everyone has a chance at a great higher education. And whether you come from a little tiny village, up in Turkana, or you come from Nairobi or Mombasa, and you're a good student, you have to be able to find a place at one of your great universities. And one of the strengths of this country is your higher education system. It's remarkable. And particularly in science, technology, engineering, and math, whether it's here at Kisii University, University of Nairobi, Strathmore, Dukat, Jomo Kenyatta, it's quite amazing. So I think the government's going to have to wrap their head around how to get out of this financial challenge and start to support more educational access.
Yeah, Madam Meg, you have done a tremendous job, because in the past 2 years, we have seen your face all over in the social media. That shows the great work that you have done, because right now we see you as an ambassador to USA, not to Kenya, because in fact you are interrelation, you are strengthening the ties between the USA and the Kenya. there has been, though there have been that great work, there have been speculation on this social media that if you want to know what our President Ruto is doing or thinking, someone have to just reach out to you and they will get an answer because they feel that you are a key influence to the decision making of the administration. How do you respond to the view that some of the Kenyans see you as a key influence to the administration's decisions?
Maybe I wish. No. So I have tried to be the U.S. ambassador to Kenya, but also the Kenyan ambassador to the investment community worldwide. I don't know if some of you have seen the talk of why Africa, why Kenya, why you should invest in Africa and why Kenya should be your destination. And I think that has actually worked quite well. Kenya, many of you may know, in 2023 was the largest destination for startup capital on the continent. You beat out Nigeria, South Africa, countries with much bigger economies. And so, and that's to some extent due to us, but it's because of who you are as a country. What I would say is, listen, the American ambassador has access to the government here. We speak to CSs, we speak to PSs, we speak to the president, and we talk about all kinds of different things. But I think I should disabuse the notion that we have unusual access. Many American ambassadors have had the access, and we just try to represent American values, democratic values, and try to help on policy decisions. By the way, we work together on regional peace and security. Kenya is and I think the Kenyan Defense Force would say America is one of their best partners in terms of fighting al-Shabaab in Somalia. So we have lots and lots of touch points, and we just try to be here respecting the sovereignty of the Kenyan government and try to help out in any way we can.
Thank you. We thank you very much as the students of Kisii University for giving us this chance and engaging with us. We look forward to having you as many times as possible so that we can have to engage with you and learn more and more. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you. Appreciate it. Thanks to the Vice Chancellor and his team.
Can kindly remain seated. Kindly let's remain seated. Yes, thank you so much. You can remain seated as the university administrations make its way out. All right, thank you so much. Kindly let's just maintain silence for a while. Yes, just a few more minutes of your time, then we'll be out of this place. Kindly, kidogo too. There has been a contact that has been left here, so in case you had any more questions, I can read out the number and the email so that you may be able to channel the question, or you just post it in the group and you'll be able to channel your question there, and they've assured us that they're going to respond to it accordingly. Sawa sawa? Yes, thank you so much. Kindly, I would like to request the guy who prayed for us. I know he began in prayer. I also think it's important to finish with prayer. The number? Okay, I wanted to post it kwa group because ingekuwa easier, but I read it out. Nisome? 07 07, it's not even 07, it's 020 020? 020, just write it that way, 020 363 6176. 020 363 6176. Have another one, 011? 011 still more familiar? So 011 402 1735. You can have a word of prayer, then we'll be free to leave. And kindly remember to ensure you don't litter around as you go outside.
So let's believe and pray. Our Heavenly Father, we say thank you for this day. Even as we have finished, Lord, we pray that may you open for us opportunities. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much for your time. You're free to leave.